On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We didn't necessarily find any new family members. I mean, there's already a crap ton around him. You know, his wife's involved with some weird stuff, and they've scrubbed all that off the internet. We also know his daughter is involved, and they scrubbed all that off the internet, and probably any other children he might have. But I couldn't help but think how much he looked like Lurch. I don't know. I mean, I think there's some similarities for sure. Obviously not the hairline, but some other things. Yeah. And then we got Thing. I guess I didn't know what it was called. I actually called it, I thought it was Cousin It, but that was the hairy little bastard. So I was like, oh shit, which one's the Hand? And I'm like, the Hand, Addams Family. It's like, oh, Thing. So that was Thing. I just thought it was funny. So 2 family members from the Addams Family. Nah. Outside of that, I don't know. This thumbnail has nothing to do with anything other than me just wanting to be a dick to Boasberg. That was all. That was what I was going for. Hopefully I nailed it. Got a lot of news. This guy's obviously a pile of trash. We're going to talk about that for sure. And a whole bunch of other things. Got a new project for our 6th gen stealth fighter. Well, it's even beyond stealth. 6th generation fighter. We find out who that's been given to. Kind of cool. Who did? I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, really? That's horrible. And so yeah, it'll be fun. We got a few things to talk about that are going to kind of fall in line with that. And a lot, again, going on. So let's jump into it. Now, I want to start here because this one was interesting to me. It was very interesting to me, actually. So yesterday on The Skiff, we talked about President Trump mentioning the other day that there were rooms underground with no windows in the Kennedy Center. It came out of nowhere, and he said it twice, making it a focus point. Do these rooms exist? And if so, what are they used for? Most of our minds probably go into the same dark place. Furthermore, he made these comments just before today's Epstein Deltas, which include this image of the underground rooms at Epstein Island. Just another coincidence. It's always been about the children. So again, just, what's underneath the Kennedy Center? And it could very well be some of these photos. I was kind of wondering. I don't know. When I did a little 10-eye look on this, a lot of this got yanked around the Pizzagate stuff way back in the day, but I did remember it around Epstein as well, that these were supposedly the underground pictures of Epstein. In fact, there was, generally speaking, the impression that this one here might have been Hillary Clinton too. But I don't think it is. And this individual looks like they don't have pants on, but does look like they might have underwear. I don't know. Not exactly sure what underground bunkers look like when you're doing horrendous negative things, but kind of interesting that picture's getting used again and brought back up, and whether or not it has any relation to Kennedy Center or if that's just part of the whole trafficking, bringing people in and out. Just, again, we're starting to realize a lot of stuff in places that we're personally in charge of now. And some of the places that we've taken charge of, like the Kennedy Center, for one, I was scratching my head. I'm like, why? I mean, putting Rick Grinnell in charge of it, cool. I like that idea. And some of the other people that are, fantastic, but why? Now it's making more sense to me anyways. Rick Wilson, he was the one that talked about how someone needed to put a bullet in Trump's head. His account has been suspended on X, which is cool. I didn't know who Rick Wilson was. And this might have been shown maybe yesterday, and I might have been a little confused on who it was even then, oddly. But, bummer. Shucks. Man. So, yeah, it looks like, all right, that's interesting. Something else. I thought that was a response to a text I was sending out to my good buddy. And oddly got it back from someone with a name that starts with the same letter. Donald Trump truthed this out. People are getting caught sabotaging Teslas will stand a very good chance of going to jail for up to 20 years, and that includes the funders. We are looking for you. Now, it's powerful to remember. We've shut down a lot of the funding, USAID, and a lot of the stuff that's happened from that is the funding. When you shut down the funding to a lot of these organizations, they dry up reasonably quickly. It's not like these guys have gobs of money sitting in savings. So there is a bit of a hard movement with the little bit of money that's left, and in many cases, we're still seeing some of the places that are maybe getting money. It's not like Soros just necessarily got rich. Soros has been getting money from USAID and any number of other places, allegedly. And so that's where he's gotten most of his money. It's not like he was just brutally rich. I mean, he probably was rich to a point, but he's been siphoning money off governments for God knows how long. We're coming to terms with the big picture. Now, this was just, again, more fun, and Don posted this all out. So, Brandon, Joseph, Les, these are the three guys that got popped, and we talked about them yesterday. We had the pictures of the three of them, but it's kind of funny. A lot of video came out. So, there's a video of Brandon Joseph Velez. He was walking by, and I think he was maybe the one that was scratching the Tesla, and he did it right in front of his Crunch Fitness or whatever the hell. So, the camera that was in Sentry mode on the car caught him, saw him. They took that to Crunch Fitness and said, "Do you know who this person is?" They said, "Yeah, we know exactly who that is." And they even saw the dude walking into Crunch Fitness, had the same bag, same color sweatshirt. It was the dude, right? He got busted. He got popped. Brandon Joseph Velez has been arrested after poorly attempting a key swastika on the Tesla in Fort Collins, Colorado. Incident took place at Crunch Fitness. Luckily, the owner had Sentry mode, yada, yada. You get the point. This guy here, F around and find out. Joe Rogan posted this one. Daniel Clark Pounder, 24, faces 20 years in federal prison after he allegedly firebombed a Tesla charging station in Charleston and spray-painted F Trump, long live Ukraine. Yeah, that's not going to go over well, right? So he's another one. So vandalism update. As of 7 p.m. Pacific, Wednesday, 3/19, so 2 days ago, basically. Thanks to your help, we now have 2 of 6 confirmed charged or arrested. We thought we had Colorado today, but that was actually another case that was just opened and shut in the same day. So the woman is still at large. Keep sharing. We'll bring them all in. So they got some of these guys. There's a couple of them they're still missing, but they will figure out who they are. We will get to the bottom of this. That's the best part. Elon Musk said Tesla has ramped up security and activated Sentry mode. We talked about that yesterday.
So far, you've been stumbling. That's alright, it's all a part of it. Phone's been blowing up ever since we went underground. You know.
It's got the address. They know exactly where this dude's at. So, again, these people, 1, are stupid. 2, thought they could continue to get away with this kind of behavior because the old Biden administration didn't care. They just let them get away with it. So I think that's why a lot of these people have this false sense of comfort. Those days are over. And you will be going to jail for a very long time. And all your cries and how unfair this is. Who cares? You can cry all you want inside jail. I think, from what I understand, Bubba loves a good crying boy, especially boys with blue hair, like that one picture. Heathrow Airport was closed. A significant power outage happened due to a giant fire nearby at a power substation. Now, the government's looking into it. Counterterrorism police are involved in investigating the substation fire. This fire was so large and was causing power problems at Heathrow, which is, I think, London, their airport there, right? And it literally caused them to shut down the airport. Probably had to divert some flights. And frankly, in England, I don't know how many other places you got to divert. I mean, it's not a huge country, and I'm sure you've got multiple airports. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say. I mean, there's some big cities there. I wouldn't even begin to be able to start guessing them. Maybe some of the ones for soccer teams I've heard of, football, whatever. Fake news media doesn't want you to see this. President Trump just said he will pay the stranded astronauts out of his own pocket. This is pretty freaking awesome. And just kind of something I didn't think about and didn't realize. And it's cool that Peter Doocy brought this question up, and even Trump said that.
The 2 astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for them. I'll take care of that. I like that. I think that's... I'll pay it right out of my... Is that all? That's not a lot for what they had to go through. And I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, because think if we don't have him. You know, there's only so long, even though they're in the capsule up there, that the body starts to deteriorate after 9 or 10 months and gets really bad after 14, 15 months with the bones and the blood and all the things that you've been reporting on very well. And if we don't have Elon, they could be up there a long time. Who else is going to get him? And I just want to thank him. He's going through a lot, what they're doing to him.
Yep. If you'd like to help my channel at MyPillow instead of RSBN, which if someone was asking me one time when I was streaming the live presidential thing, they're like, why aren't you streaming it from RSBN? And it's like, because RSBN puts advertisements constantly on their stuff, which good on them, but it sucks if you're someone that's trying to stream a clean feed, right? I'd rather put my own advertisements on there than somebody else's advertisements. All said, it is part of how the business side of this works, but yeah, use OTF. That's a better coupon code for my audience anyways, if you want to help out. If you want to help RSBN, feel free. There you go. That's how you do that too, all right? I'm not trying to take away your opportunities to do that. Healthy Home is a product I truly, truly, truly believe in. Love this product. I love what it's been doing. I love how it's working. My girlfriend's even noticing a difference. I'm actually noticing it in her physically. She's able to lift her arm more. She's actually able to give me hugs now in the morning when I see her at the coffee shop, which she wasn't before. She'd just kind of shoulder into me. Now she actually literally opens up her arm and puts it around me and actually gives me a hug. That's an improvement. That's a huge improvement. And it's because of the STEM Active. She was literally doing, and I did this intentionally as an experiment, and I've got another friend, an officer, thank you, Blue Line, always, thank you for the work you do, Laura, I love you, thank you. But on top of that, she's been taking the STEM Active, and she's also had positive results that she's noticed in her shoulder. She's got a giant bag that she pulls out of her car. You start paying attention to all the little weird things you do. For me, I was leaning on my shoulder, like the one arm a lot, and I'd be doing stuff with the mouse, but I'd be leaning on my chair and doing that for prolonged periods of times. That's what was actually causing a lot of the discomfort. So one, it gets you to help focus on how you can stop doing some of these behaviors that's causing the damage. But two, it actually helps heal the damage. That's the sweet part. Stem cells are already in your body. This helps activate more of them. It's just something that helps your body create more stem cells than it normally does. There's no stem cells in it. Generally, those come from fetuses. This actually works within your own body's system. But it makes enormous differences. And like I said, with my girlfriend, she was doing the collagen peptides, which I'm noticing the difference on the thing on her head, and she's loving it with her hair and nails and all that crap. She's loving it. She's loving it. She loves it. That's her favorite one. I love the STEM Active because I'm able to hug my girlfriend, or my girlfriend hugs me now, too, I should say. I hug her as well. But the STEM Active has been the difference. And she's doing the gel. She likes the liquid. She likes that. I like the pills. It's just easier for me. I'd rather take 2 pills, swallow them, and be on with my day. Unless you just got to open it up, and then you go and throw it away. So it's just, I don't know. I like taking 2 pills. It's easier. Either way, it's the same thing. Just 2 different ways of getting it. This actually, I think, gets into your system probably a hair faster, but this is those gel caps, so they go very, very quickly anyway, no matter how you do it. Balance this for the ladies going through the change. I haven't gotten any feedback from anyone, and frankly, I don't think this is something a lot of people love to talk about. But I don't have anyone in my direct little world that's going through the change that I could try to hit this on. The only one person I do know would want me to buy it for them, which I might do. We'll see. But, yeah. But this is supposed to have hormone support. It's not actually giving you hormones. It's actually support. It's kind of the same thing as the stem cells. It's helping your body make more of the hormones that you've got to kind of get your balance back in order. And then you feel a little better, right? I don't fully understand the change, but I do understand it is a hormonal thing, and women go through it, and it's very common, right? And most women don't like it, and it's definitely a sign of our final phase of life. And I think ladies kind of, I don't want to try to put words in anyone's mouth. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Again, these great products. We've got the Amaze, which is the collagen support. We've got AO12, which is antioxidants, pulls those nasty things out of your body that actually causes age spots and stuff like that. A lot of that's antioxidants. They're doing damage. They're destroying cells. And there's just this crap molecules floating around inside your body that come from other things we eat and stuff that's not healthy. This is kind of one of the ways you can rid yourself from a lot of those types of products. AO12 is a great, great product to do exactly that. Prime is another one I love. This is the nitric oxide activator. Just gives you energy. Just works really, really well. Fantastic product. And STEM Active for your pets. Again, very active. I love my pet club stuff. Okay, so I'm going to talk about on the daily for your pets and yourself, even for that matter. On the daily, I would suggest those. The pet club stuff, it's a lot more affordable, and it's certainly helping keep your pets healthy and active. STEM Active specifically, though, if you've got a pet that's been through a surgery, been through an injury, any sort of thing like that, I actually highly recommend STEM Active for a period of time until you help the healing process. This will help enhance the stem cells inside your pet, and thusly will help your pet heal faster. That's the stem cells are cells that are androgynous. They can become any other cell in the body, and it just depends what part of the body's screaming for help. You know, the heart's got problems, lungs have problems, muscles have problems. You have a wound that's healing. There's my burn, right? My burn, you can still see it. It's getting better. It's been, I burnt the hell out of it on my walk. It's on the side, and it was just one of those, you're like, oh, that's going to suck. Yeah, almost instantly went first degree. So, yeah, bummer. Stuff happens. But these things help. Collagen would probably be a bigger deal with the skin. But again, it heals from the inside out. So it all comes in time. But if you've got a healing process that's going on, I highly recommend that for your pets because it will help enhance and speed up the whole healing process. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make sure you make that big step into your healthy living. Or healing thy home. Healthy home, heal thy home. It's kind of a fun little thing they do. But danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. When we start manifesting health in our lives, we start making decisions that help our health. We do healthier choices. That's healthy living. And heal thy home or healthy home, that's exactly what that is. It's a great way to try to keep yourself healthy, especially you're working through some of the changing of your mindset when it's time to try to manifest. More positive stuff. And for those of you that don't know, I love manifesting. It's a big thing I'm into. Got a Dan Radio Style on YouTube. Look it up. It's been there for, 11, 12 years now. Been doing it a long time. I have over 1,000 videos. I would say I'm an expert. I'm very good at manifesting, and I've coached a crap ton of people in my life through spiritual growth and manifesting growth and all that stuff. So, again, powerful stuff. A lot of people still ask me to coach. I don't really coach anymore. It's just for the time spent, and there's just better places I can use my time and help more people at the same time. So it's just something I don't do very often. Every once in a while I'll get a question and I'll answer it, and I do that. But for the most part, it's hard. It's a lot of time for an individual to help them, right? Versus I can try to do a video and spend the time and try to help thousands of people versus a person. It just seems like a better use of time. It's one of the hard parts about being mortal, and I don't know how Elon Musk does it, frankly. Obviously much better at it than I am. Musk is set to get access. This is a great little story. So this went all over the place. This got spread everywhere. And this was total fake news, okay? So this whole section's fake news. The New York Times posted this. Musk set to get access to top secrets. U.S. plan for potential war with China. And then the whole story talks about how Musk is going to be in this meeting. And that Musk is going to get this inside information. But Musk has business dealings in China. So obviously Musk is going to tell China if we ever decide to attack them. News at 11. I am Batman. Right? Like, that's what this whole news story was saying. MSNBC ran with it, using the same story. Trump administration live updates. Elon Musk to discuss China at Pentagon. President and Defense Secretary to give Oval Office remarks. News at 11. Right? Washington Post, Elon Musk scheduled to receive a briefing by Defense Department leaders focused on the threat posed by China and the billionaire's work to slash the U.S. government's bureaucracy, according to the people familiar with the matter. News at 11. Donald Trump truthed out. Elon Musk will be briefed by the Pentagon about the USA's top secret plans against China should there be a war, end quote. According to the failing New York Times, was one of the worst and most purposely inaccurate newspapers anywhere in the world. Their fake concept for this story is that because Elon does some business in China, that he is very conflicted and would immediately go to top Chinese officials and spill the beans. Ratings challenged fake news CNN immediately picked up on this absolutely ridiculous and false story, which is probably libelous, and went heavy with it. Fortunately, nobody was watching. Maggot Hagerman, the really dumb scammer who constantly writes about me for the Times, using anonymous, made-up, non-existent sources, and who I haven't spoken to in ages, is a part of the scam. She leads the Russia hoax only to realize that she was duped and got it wrong. She owes me a totally discredited Pulitzer Prize for her bad reporting. The fake news is the enemy of the people, and Elon is not being briefed on anything China by the Department of War. Ezra Cohen put this out, and I think a pretty astute assessment on his part. The lead author of the false New York Times story regarding a briefing for Elon Musk on PRC contingency plans is Eric Schmidt. Based on my experience, he is heavily sourced with the Joint Staff and often publishes false information on their behalf. The framing of the story and the content of the article also points to the JS as the source, perhaps to protect corrupt JS interests that are in the reform crosshairs. Need to finish JS house cleaning and dramatically reduce the numbers. So JS is the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's the body of most senior uninformed. Isn't that funny? Uniformed. That's not informed. It's so close, though. Uniformed leaders within the United States Department of Defense. It advises the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Homeland Security Council, and the National Security Council on military matters. It obviously has extensive leaks. It's obviously worried about being caught. Very possibly, might even be some of the locations of some of these generals that were shredding things when Trump came into office and Hegseth took over. We'll, of course, find out more and more as we move down the road. Elon Musk posted this regarding the fake news story and Donald Trump truth. He responded to that. The New York Times is pure propaganda. Also, I look forward to the prosecution of those at the Pentagon who are leaking maliciously false information to the New York Times. They will be found. That is part of what this all is. That's the fun part. This entire narrative was meant to drag certain people out. Deep state factions within the Pentagon, I guarantee you, they know exactly who you are. And you will be publicly arrested, harassed, and oddly, the leaks will probably stop. At least soon we shall see. Elon Musk left the Pentagon after 80 minutes. He already got there. There was a video of him showing up. I'm like, well, we don't need that. And he left. He was only there 80 minutes. Now, it's funny, is on the way out the door, they were asking him questions about China. He didn't answer any of their questions. He just ignored them. Pete Hegseth was with him. They said, if anything I can do to be helpful, I'd like to see you. So it looks like they're making some deals to try to help out. Not sure exactly what's going on. Probably has to do with SpaceX a little bit, I would think. But at the very end of the exchange, yes, they're... The New York Times journalist who reported Musk was set to be briefed on top secret plans about China asked the defense secretary what he and Musk discussed. Hegseth said, "Why would I tell you?" And he walked back inside. Beautiful. Beautiful. Because why would we tell you? And we're never going to tell you anything. Your day as a reporter is done, and certainly your rag that you report for is done. Another great example. We had a situation where CNN was reporting a U.S. French individual was claiming that he was expelled from this country over text messages he had sent or conversations he'd had on social media about how he didn't like Trump. Well, it seems the truth has come out. U.S. denies the French claims a space researcher was expelled over messages about Trump. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement Thursday that, quote, any claim that his removal was based on political bias or beliefs is blatantly false, end quote. The French researcher in question was in possession of confidential information on his electronic device from Los Alamos National Laboratory in violation of a non-disclosure agreement, something he admitted to taking without permission and attempted to conceal. That's why he got kicked out of the country. You Frenchy French bastards. He was trying to steal the perfection of the croissant that we have made here in the United States. It's a significantly better croissant than your shitty-ass croissant. Ours is good. Yours is bad. So he had the secret recipe. He was trying to take it home to motherland, to the French country, to show them how to make the proper croissant. But no, we took it back. It had nothing to do with that, by the way. It was not a croissant issue at all. That's just me being disrespectful to the French. NOAA cuts more key weather data gathering after layoffs. Of course, it's Axios, so right off the bat, you should instantly be going, Dan, why are you sharing this? Yes, good question. Because it makes sense. Fake news. NOAA cuts more key weather data. Now, it's really good when you get into the article here. The National Weather Service is reducing weather balloon launches at 6 more locations in the U.S. and temporarily suspending them at 2 more places due to staffing shortages, announced Thursday afternoon. Oh my God, 8 locations of balloon launchers are going to stop launching balloons? That's got to be catastrophic. Weather balloons typically launch twice per day. At NWS local forecast offices provides crucial data for weather forecasting. The suspension and reduction in balloon launch frequency comes on the heels of other cuts. We're all going to die, people. Here's the weird thing. We're like 8 weather balloon locations. So I was curious, how many weather balloons do we actually launch a day? Now, first off, what's funny is this article was posted back when we were having, sightings of the Chinese balloons, and they're trying to play down those like, oh, man, no, there's so many weather balloons launched. So it's kind of funny, ABC, because I don't know if Axios, ABC, you guys are all shit, but so it's kind of funny because this sort of backfires against them in the big picture. How many weather balloons are there? On any given day, across the world, nearly 1,800 weather balloons are launched, including 92 here. 92 balloons. We've gotten rid of 8 sites. They supposedly launch 2 a day. Let's call that 16. 16 from 92 is what, 76? That's it. So it's going down from 92 to 76. And this is their giant story. People are gonna die! Are they? I don't think so. Pretty sure they won't. Probably first off, if they're understaffed, we got people out there launching balloons and there's nobody to even look at the data, so that's stupid, right? We're spending money on balloons and getting nothing for it. You're closed. So whatever the case is, it's not that big a deal. Of course, they're trying to make it a big deal, but it's not one. The Maryland federal judge, who has been issuing a ruling preventing DOGE from accessing Social Security systems, stating that the group's actions constitute an unwarranted phishing expedition that puts individuals' private information at risk. Again, just to remind people, the contractor that released 400,000 people's Social Security numbers, that was okay during the Biden administration. They didn't stop that, did they? No. Not at all. But here's the thing. DOGE is there to find efficiencies and to upgrade our software and all these crap government systems. So whatever the case is, these judges, this is, of course, a judicial coup. I really like that term that's floating around right now. So we'll see, again, how that continues to play out. Now, here's my friend here, Judge Boasberg, James Boasberg. He's filed under seal after days of heated back and forth. Yeah, he filed his government response. Basically said he did a 3-page response. He said, again, evading its obligation to provide information. He's all pissed off at them. DOJ response was submitted under seal, but Boasberg said the department told him he could disclose the contents. It comprised a 6-paragraph declaration from the acting field office director for enforcement and removal operations at U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Harlingen, Texas. See, I couldn't say it all without breathing. As to another of the judge's questions, whether the government would try to assert a state secret privilege in order to get out of answering questions, the ICE official said, I understand that cabinet secretaries are currently actively considering whether to invoke the state secret's privilege over the other facts requested by the court's order. Judge called this response woefully insufficient. Oh, woefully. Damn. He said he wanted a sworn declaration by a person with direct involvement in the cabinet-level decisions regarding invocation of the state secret's privilege by Friday morning to be notified of any decision on the issue by Tuesday. Well, he got exactly that. Deputy AG Attorney General's Blanche, in response to the order by Jeb Boasberg, I'm going to call him Jeb, that's funny, just filed sworn statement confirming cabinet-level discussions about invoking state secrets privilege related to Boasberg's demand for details on deportation flights. Boasberg has no right to the information he's asking for. The flights were already en route. They've already landed. The individuals have already been offloaded into the other country. Him asking for flight information, where they were going, who they were going, and all that stuff, sorry, these are state secrets. You're just a friggin' judge. Sorry, bud, but no, you don't get it. You don't get it. So Todd Blanche put it, and he said, yeah, those statements are true. That's exactly what's up. Mr. Cern is correct. So there is a great article. Trump was talking about this wonderful Miranda Devine article in the New York Post. She says it's a must read, talking about the many out-of-control radical left judges. I didn't read the article, but it looks pretty good. Looks pretty long. A lot of the reporting has come from crap sources. Donald Trump had a couple truths in relation to Mr. Boasberg. Unlawful nationwide injunctions by radical left judges could very well lead to the destruction of our country. These people are lunatics who do not care even a little bit about the repercussions of their very dangerous and incorrect decisions and rulings. Lawyers endlessly search the United States for these judges and file lawsuits as quickly as they can find them. It is then the obligation of law-abiding agencies of government to have these orders overturned. The danger is unparalleled. These judges want to assume the power of the presidency without having to attain 80 million votes. They want all the advantages with none of the risks. Again, a president has to be allowed to act quickly and decisively about such matters as returning murderers, drug lords, rapists, and other such type criminals back to their homeland or to other locations that will allow our country to be safe. It is our goal to make America great again, and such a high aspiration can never be done if radical and highly partisan judges are allowed to stand in the way of justice. Stop nationwide injunctions now before it is too late. If Justice Roberts and the United States Supreme Court do not fix this toxic and unprecedented situation immediately, our country is in very serious trouble. Trump's calling out a few things, obviously. One, Roberts needs to get involved. He talked about judicial review or reform, whatever, I think it was review he said, and that's how they're supposed to handle this. All right. Well, get on it there, big guy. Because here's the thing, Roberts. Most of us realize you've done some shady stuff in the past. You have an opportunity to do the right thing, but we realize that you are intentionally and by purpose the block that the deep state intentionally placed. You've been the block intentionally. You've been a conservative justice that we've all thought was okay. And Clarence Thomas obviously doesn't fully agree with you on everything, but he's never broken ranks because you don't do that. So we've got a funny little situation. We'll see what Roberts does, but worst case scenario, Roberts has to step down at some point because some horrible information comes out about some strange impropriety that he's been a part of in his own personal life. It'd be such a shame if that truth were to come out, wouldn't it, Justice Roberts? Again, I'm not threatening you. I don't have the information. I just know what's going to happen if you don't do the right thing. Not what we want, what the Constitution decrees, either or. You have to do the right thing, dude. And if not, it'd be a shame to ruin you publicly. I think you've got a family. You've even got an adopted daughter, I think. A lot of questions about some of that, too. Donald Trump also truth Judge James Boasberg is doing everything in his power to usurp the power of the presidency. He is a local, unknown judge, a grandstander, looking for publicity, and it cannot be for any other reasons because his rulings are so ridiculous and inept. Save America. I love how he can just be so mean to these judges now. It's cool. Federal judge blocks Trump's administration's attempt to deport Georgetown University student. I think this is being done on purpose. This is the second one. This is the Indian fella, the fellow from India, and Justice Judge Patricia Tolliver Giles, a Biden appointee, ordered the Indian national Badar Khan Suri cannot be removed from the country until a court issues a contrary order following the academic's arrest on Monday. Suri is currently being held at an immigration detention center in Louisiana. Lawyers have filed this petition, blah, blah, blah. He's supposedly working with Hamas propagandists. This is going to be interesting because state secrets, national security, all these things totally supersede the judicial. They just do. There's numerous cases in the Supreme Court forever, going back a long ways. There's all sorts of case law to support what Trump is doing. These judges, these federal judges are just unfortunately way outside their lane. Trump administration weighs sanctions on foreign funders of pro-Hamas campus protests. Now, this is the other thing. Again, we're going for the money. And some of this is to drag these people out. I'm almost sure of it. They are intentionally trying to piss off some of these ultra-progressive, crazy, radical lefties. When they get pissed off, they kind of lose control. They literally start to they can't function. And they go out and do stupid stuff like firebomb Tesla facilities. Now we're looking for the funding. And trust us, we will find the funding. The funding will be stopped. We'll find out who exactly is being financed. Probably they'll have some problems too. Likely be exported from this country or put in jail, especially if they're working against the interests of the United States. you start getting into some close to treason stuff. I mean, just as an American citizen, your freedom of speech can be one thing, but if you're actively working with enemies of the state and helping them, even though you're a citizen, that's not free speech anymore. That's treason. Or at least something akin to it. I don't know if treason happens if you don't actually swear on any sort of oath, because none of us have sworn an oath. You know, they don't make you do that when you go to the DMV. Put your hand on the Bible. All right, I do solemnly swear to support the Constitution and right? Like, no, that's not how it works. So, crazy stuff happening. There are protests against the arrest of the pro-Palestinian Columbia graduate student. They are being organized by a bunch of Marxist revolutionary groups that are pro-communism, anti-Israel, and has potential links to Chinese Communist Party. I love it. And some would be saying, huh? Dan, what? I love it. I love the fact that these guys are definitely getting called out, that these guys are going to come out into the street. A whole bunch more of them are going to have judges that are going to try to block, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're going to continue to send people to other places. Period. End of story. And in some cases, if they're actual enemies of state, it might become secret where they're at. So then court orders can't be specific about saying you've got to bring them back from someplace. It's like, we don't know where they're at. Well, you got to bring them back. I don't know if we can. Well, you got to tell us why you can't. Because they're in a place we can't bring them back from. Where's that? Can't tell you. Well, you got to tell me. No, I don't. That's it. Done, Judge. Thank you, Judge. We'll see you again. This is all coming down, man. It's just going to get crazy over the next few months. It's going to get fun. It's going to get crazy. They're going to have a lot of riots this summer. A lot of riots. Okay? Keep that in mind. Don't go out looking for trouble. Stay home. Protect your homes. Protect your neighborhoods. Most likely, you're not going to be right in the direct line of fire. If you are, I pray for you. But most of us, I'm pretty sure, are going to be in the outer skirts of these areas, and likely in better. Or if it's a building that's got to catch fire, it's not going to be the one you're in or you live in. Better words than saying you're in. Border Patrol checking U.S. visitors' phones, social media, and all that. Of course, Newsweek. Is that legal? Yes, it is legal. If you come into this country from another country, you don't have rights. No. We will investigate you. If you are stealing secrets, like the French scientist who was denied entry because of his social media posts, again, Newsweek pushing the stupid story. No, it wasn't because of that. Thanks, Newsweek, for being wrong. But no, it was because he was stealing state secrets from Los Alamos. Yeah. So, again, Newsweek, shit source of information. Axios, shit source of information. Reuters, Politico, shit source of information. New York Times, Washington Post, shit sort of information. Shit source of information. I'm like, I didn't say that right. There's a couple things. This one I think is meant to piss people off, but I think it's kind of funny that it will. And I know it's because most people are very black and white, period. Pharma? Well, folks, there's a lot of things Pharma makes that we use. First off, Johnson & Johnson, though this is a pharma factory, they make that No Tears shampoo, which I can't stand. Like, as an adult, anytime I've ever had to use that, it always gets in my eyes. It always hurts my eyes. It doesn't make me cry, per se, but it always seems to end up in my eyes. Johnson & Johnson, that baby shampoo, that shit ends up in my eyes no matter what. I don't have that problem with regular shampoo, just Johnson & Johnson. Guaranteed it's going to get in my eyes. I don't understand it at all. They're going to spend $55 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years on manufacturing, research, and technology investments. And so this is kind of a good thing, I think. There are a lot of pharmaceuticals that are made in this country that people take because they've got heart problems and other shit. Now, again, I don't agree with all that per se. I think there's healthy living and you're better to do that. But there's a lot of people that trust doctors way more than they trust, some idiot like me. So whatever, that's fine. I don't care. But there are drugs that need to be made. Now, one of the problems is we're starting to notice fentanyl is showing up in some of the pharmaceutical drugs being manufactured in China. We're allowing, really, our biggest enemy to manufacture drugs that we take to keep us healthy, which they don't generally do anyway, but that's a bad idea, right? So this is smart to have stuff in your own country. which is, I think, what they're doing. White House, Trump is meeting with the UAE, United Arab Emirates. They're talking about a $1.4 trillion investment deal over 10 years. A pretty significant amount of money, $140 billion a year, basically. Not bad. Trump is working on making America great again. That's for shizzle, as we would say. U.S. Department of Education has allocated over $3 trillion. It's been allocated over $3 trillion since 1979. Over this period, per-student spending has risen by more than 245%, yet the results are largely absent. There has been no significant progress in student performance. Math and reading scores for 13-year-olds have fallen to their lowest point in decades. 60% of fourth graders and almost 75% of eighth graders lack proficiency in math. 70% of fourth and eighth graders are not proficient in reading, and 40% of fourth grader students fail to meet even basic reading standards, even though we went to that new math. Remember that? And that was meant to intentionally confuse. Because now your kids were learning a different form of math that made no sense to all of us that got educated properly in mathematics. Now we've got kids that can't do math anymore because of this stupid new math that's been made up that doesn't really work. And when we try to help them with their stupid version of math that makes no sense, we almost just want to be like, all right, let me just teach you math and screw what they're telling you in school. Just try to do it the way they're doing it, but ultimately double check your answer with regular math and see if you piss them off. I don't know what I would do. If I had kids, man, I can't even tell you how badly I would ruin their. They would make life difficult for people at schools. The world's a better place without me having children. That is for sure. President Trump talks about shutting down Department of Education. Why? Because they suck. They don't do anything they're supposed to do. This is one of the questions that we are going to face with a lot of people. Oh no, they're going to shut down education. Look, you've gotten $3 trillion. Over the time you guys have been around, and you have not accomplished anything. In fact, it's gotten significantly worse over time. Why would we continue to fund that? Well, we need more money. No, you don't. You didn't do anything good with the money you had. Why would I give you more? No, we're shutting your ass down. It's going back to the states.
Executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it. And everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right. And I hope they're going to be voting for it because ultimately it may come before them. But everybody knows it's right. And we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country. And we haven't for a long time. And we're pleased executive order to...
So yeah, he's shutting down the Department of Education. He is signing the docs right here with his fabulous signature. And there you go. He signed a document. Oh, my God. I can't believe he did it. That's pretty cool that he's shutting it down, though. I love that. President Trump has reached a peace deal with the prominent law firm, agreeing to lift punitive executive order in exchange for concessions that include an agreement to do pro bono work on behalf of the conservative cause. It's kind of cool. He's specifically going after, and this I thought at first was that Perkins Coie. It's not. This is has to do with Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison. I guess that's the law firm that's probably done a bunch of stuff for the Dems against Trump, most likely. They've now agreed to do some pro bono stuff for us. We'll see how that actually plays out, but it seems that he's kind of pulled back this executive order. Kind of cool. Trump orders to share U.S. data focuses on unemployment information. He wants specifically the unemployment information to be shared across multiple agencies. It's one thing specifically that he's talking about with the Department of Efficiency, right? Government efficiency. 10 DOGE staffers at Social Security Administration, for example, have been looking at death records, new hire data collected for child support agencies and Social Security benefits. Yet the data exchange efforts could be hampered by court rulings limiting DOGE's access to Americans' personal data under the Privacy Act. Anyway, Trump is trying to bring these all together, specifically employment data. Again, these agencies should be able to see other agencies' records. It would make things easier, more efficient, cheaper, and just more effective, right? If you're literally trying to go after somebody that's not paying child support and they're claiming they don't have a job, yet you've got this other records database because you're paying them money, it says something otherwise. Need to check into that. And Paulina Luna lets us know that more JFK files were just loaded to the U.S. National Archives location. Apparently, March 20th, 2025, yesterday, basically, they released another 13,700 pages, or roughly, or precisely, 161 PDF files. So more records being dropped. I'm sure more people are going to find some stuff. Look forward again to seeing. I've seen a little bit of stuff pulled forward. This is one that kind of jumped out that I hadn't necessarily heard about. Now, the fact that Kennedy started what Trump is finishing actually makes sense. And I think they realized how difficult a path this was going to be when Kennedy started down this road. So they came at it a little differently. They've been planning for a long time. They've been prepping Trump to be this person for a long time. It was a big part of why he had the TV show he had. Huge part. That was done intentionally. And he snuck through all the Dems' worlds. They thought he was a great guy. They're like, no, we like him. He's great. He's so nice. And then he decided to become a Republican, and, we hate him now. So Kennedy did not want us involved in Vietnam. That was one thing he was talking about. He signed NSAM 263, calling for the withdrawal from Vietnam. Then literally, the day after Kennedy's funeral on 11/27/63, Lyndon B. Johnson signs NSAM 273, drafted by Bonesman McGeorge Bundy the day before JFK's assassination. I think this is that guy that General Flynn was talking about, how he was hiding off in D.C. someplace in a safe house, still making decisions after he'd been fired. He was the one that I think signed this. So NSAM 273 reversed JFK's plans regarding Vietnam. Result, escalation in Vietnam. One of President John F. Kennedy's most pressing concerns during his presidency was how fast Israel was seeking a nuclear weapon capability and what the U.S. should do about it. JFK refused to sign off on false flag operation to provoke war with Cuba, something the other chiefs of staff were already in favor of. 5 months before his assassination, President John F. Kennedy issued an executive order that would have given the American currency back to the people by printing money based on a silver standard. This would have stripped the power of the Federal Reserve banking cartel. So the CIA and Mossad, the banking cartels, all the deep state people were directly behind the assassination of President Trump. And President Kennedy, which similar, same people were trying to kill Trump. With all the people that say this is the reason Kennedy was assassinated, there is no one reason. So please, any of you guys that are pursuing the Kennedy information, there's no one reason. Find all the reasons, because there's a bunch. They didn't kill him just because he wanted to make his own currency. They didn't kill him. They could have fought each one of those individual things. Kennedy was fighting everything the deep state was trying to do. And if you think about where they managed to get us from those days, you think of all the wars that we've been through. And they really started with Korea. Well, probably started back with World War I, frankly. But you can see they wanted control of that. The industrial military complex. They wanted to get that rolling hard and fast, and they did. So there's a lot of reasons why they killed Kennedy. And it's just like what Trump's doing right now. There's a lot of things Trump's doing. There isn't one thing that Trump's doing right now that's pissing off the deep state. There's a whole bunch of things that Trump is doing that's extraordinarily pissing off the deep state. So this was just a good reminder of why Chuck Schumer is so unpopular right now, even amongst people that are Democrats.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to people. A barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay, good.
United to steal everybody's money, because we, the government, who wastes all over the place, we need more of your tax money. rather than trying to get more efficient because they're fighting us on that. No. We don't want that. George Soros-backed group is now leading the Chuck Schumer retirement push. Interesting. Who actually is leading the party? Many people are questioning this right now. Obviously, we've got questions around Chuck Schumer and whether or not he's going to survive this. This group, I guess, that's an activist, Indivisible, is this activist hub. I guess they've gotten $7.6 million from the Soros Open Society Foundation, which, again, is probably funded through USAID. He's spending money to try to get Schumer to retire, which I don't disagree with. I think Schumer is so far past his age, much like Biden, which is funny because now Biden, he's talking about wanting back in. He's like, look, you guys need help. I'll get out there and fundraise for you. I'm happy to help. Which is hilarious. NBC's putting this out. It's hilarious. Nobody cares about Biden. Nobody would give a dime to Biden. Nobody likes Kamala. Nobody's going to give a dime to her. Or the very few people that would are retards, and that's fine. Keep giving your money away. Don't care. So, kind of funny. Cori Bush's husband has been indicted for wire fraud. She's one of the squad. Allegedly submitted false applications to obtain COVID relief funds. Bush paid her husband, Courtney Merritt's, more than $150,000 in campaign funds to work as her bodyguard, interestingly. And they had a fake business that they were funneling money through, they were getting this fake, the small paycheck protection program going on. She's being looked into right now. She's been charged with defrauding the federal government. Charged. Now, there's a case. We'll let her fight that in court. I don't want to assume she's guilty, even though might be. Probably is, but we'll find out. I want her to have her day in court. That's the only proper way to do this. Folks, they're going to definitely try. There's a lot of talk of the different bird flus, the flus, all the crap. Also talks about measles, which has quieted down a lot, I've noticed, actually, over the last week. Because I don't think they got the traction they needed on the 4 people that had cases or the 1 person that died or whatever the hell it is. Here's the thing, guys. There's a few things that we can do to make sure that if any sort of weird virus stuff goes around, one, I highly recommend keeping your immune system strong. That's going to probably come around with the pet club stuff. That definitely helps keep your immune system really, really strong. There are some great supplements in here as well. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. They've got longevity, which we're going to talk about more. They've got the long COVID bundle. So if you're one of these people that maybe got the vaccine and seem to have the long COVID, they've got kind of a thing that can help with that. Restful sleep, healthy heart, elevated energy. They've got a whole lot of great supplements. But what it really, really comes down to me, in my opinion, is the stuff that protects you if you get sick, the viral stuff. They've got great medical kits. They've got a first aid kit. I highly recommend every house have a first aid kit. I highly recommend if you have children that you make sure you buy them a first aid kit because they probably don't own one, right? Unless they're Boy Scouts or something weird. Make sure they've got stuff like that, always. So right off the bat, I would check the kits. Medical kit, look what's in it, but there's a lot of antibiotics and good stuff like that. First aid kit, you just always want to make sure your kids got Band-Aids and bandages and all that stuff that they can do in case they get sick. Your Neosporins and Bactines and antibiotics and all that good stuff. Make sure you've got that. But the contagion kit is really important. This is the one that's going to save you from viruses. It's got all the stuff in it. Well, first off, here's a list of all the crazy crap. It even helps with lice. Think about it. It's an antiviral/antiparasitic. Okay? You've got ivermectin. You get 25 tablets of that. You got hydroxychloroquine, 14 tablets of that. Both of those are extremely strong and good antiviral medications. You've got azithromycin, which is an antibiotic, a very strong one as well. You've got generic Tamiflu, another antiviral agent. You get 10 tabs of that guy. And you got budesonide, which is like asthma medication. Essentially it is asthma medication, but it helps open up your airways. If you're having a hard time breathing because of congestion due to severe cold, upper respiratory, this is something that you can do. You get 5 vials and the nebulizer. So if you have to be able to breathe again, trust me, this will be the thing that keeps you out of the hospital in most cases. Of course, this comes through a doctor. Doctor's prescribing this. Also consult with a physician, obviously, if you're going to do anything strange or if you are sick and there's questions about whether or not, this is something that if you start getting that tingle in the back of your throat, start taking your Ivers immediately. And you'll probably kill it in 24 hours to 36 hours without it ever becoming anything else. But you've got to have the medicines on hand. If you don't have the medicines on hand, you will not be okay, right? It'll just get worse and worse and worse. Maybe. So I highly recommend you check it out. If you need to get a refill, you've got, I believe, up to 2 years, 3 years, something to that effect. 2 to 3 years, I don't remember which, where you can get it refilled for a reduced price. And, of course, they remember your order and all that stuff. So a lot of good stuff that comes into that. So keep that in mind. Each kit is for only one person. Keep that in mind as well if you ever respond back. Don't be like, me and my wife are using it. They're probably going to say you should have bought 2 kits, right? So each kit is supposedly for one person. I'm saying there's probably enough medicine in there where you could do fine. I guess there's a limit, 4 kits per person. Complete a 2-minute intake to complete your order. There's essentially, you're getting a doctor's prescription for this. So some good information. This is powerful. I just highly recommend the Contagion Kit. I know I'm talking a lot on this. And the other one is this guy. This is, I don't know what drop is. We're going to have to look at that. This is powerful. I don't even know how to say it any stronger. It's quote unquote a parasite cleanse. Now, I know there's a lot of information floating around right now that's tying parasites to a number of the different sicknesses we have. If you think about what a virus is and what a parasite is, a parasite's just a organism that is using your life force but giving you no benefit. Right? It's not mutually beneficial. It is a parasite. It is sucking life from you and not benefiting you in any way, shape, or form. Viruses are exactly the same. A virus and a parasite, by definition, are similar things. Now, typically, I mean, there is a technical difference in definition, but they really are the same thing. So an anti-parasite cleanse is one that actually removes your parasites from your bodies. Now, there's also some tie-ins that there may be some parasitic connections with cancers. I don't know if it's all cancers, some cancers. There's a lot of discussion and studies around that right now. And as we're finding out, this seems to make a big difference. There's a lot of people I've talked to that have done this that had some cancer stuff going on and noticed huge benefits. So keep this in mind. This parasite cleanse, it's a 3-month supply of 2 very powerful ingredients. You don't have to take them. You can hang on to this for a little while in case something happens, something extreme, or do the parasite cleanse and try to remove as much of that nasty from your body in one cleanse as you possibly can, and probably gets most, if not all. But this has ivermectin and mebendazole, 2 very award-winning ingredients. Yes, this is the bad boy. You go to twc.health/OTF. You want to go to the anti-aging tab, and it's the ivermectin mebendazole. I'm curious what drop is. What's drop? Oh, drop a pound without the injections. Oh, breakthrough peptide that targets the GLP-1 and GIP and other hormones to improve metabolism. Easily add a few drops to your water in the morning for serious weight loss without prescriptions injections. Wow, this isn't cheap either. Holy crap. $499 a month. Good God. But I'm sure it works. Yeah, it's probably cheaper than Ozempic, too. I know Ozempic is way more than that. So I think that's part of why they're charging so much, because they can, frankly. I mean, I'm not trying to say I justify that, but twc.health/OTF. Tell you, if you've got some means, you're somebody out there, I'd love it if you try this and let me know. If you're overweight and you got means, let's put it that way. I'd be curious what you guys get from this. Powerful products, though. These guys do really good stuff. Really good stuff. twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. They're going to take health matters into your own hands, folks, because we can't exactly trust the deep state. That is for sure. Helene relief package has finally been voted in North Carolina. It's $524 million signed in by law. So we are finally going to see some money moving towards people legitimately. That's pretty cool. Trump administration's delaying New York's congestion pricing deadline by 30 days, giving them a little bit more time. They were going to have it canceled essentially by March 21st. But on Thursday, however, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy took a social media to announce a 30-day extension of the deadline to give Kathy Hochul a little more time. Quote, Kathy Hochul, the federal government, and President Trump are putting New York on notice. Your refusal to end cordon pricing and your open disrespect towards the federal government is unacceptable. We will provide New York with a 30-day extension as discussions continue. Know that the billions of dollars the federal government sends to New York are not a blank check. Continued noncompliance will not be taken lightly. So another big war is winding up. And this is going to help get California in line, too. I'm not sure quite exactly how yet. I mean, the funding for the fires in L.A. and other stuff, we'll see how that plays out. but New York as well should give hope to many people, especially those of you in the flyover states. Musk PAC is offering $100 for Wisconsin petition signatures opposing activist judges, basically saying you can vote however the hell you want, but we'll give you $100 to sign this. And they are trying to get some, I think, some stuff on the ballot. They're trying to decide. Oh, they're trying to decide crucial state Supreme Court seat. And they're trying to see if they can flip it from a Democrat or liberal crazy judge to a more conservative judge. So we'll see how this plays out. But Elon Musk is playing a part out there in Wisconsin. Trump DOJ drops Biden-era legal challenge to Texas border security law. Now, there is still going to be some lawsuits happening from some of these advocate groups. You know, the Las America Immigrant Advocate Center. They're still going to continue their case against Texas, but the United States government has stopped their case, so that's kind of cool. Donald Trump put something out very interesting. He reposted AG Letitia James building permits raise serious questions. Now, interestingly, Trump knows a lot about building, and he knows a lot about New York law, and he knows a lot about all this kind of stuff. And what's really interesting is Letitia James is actually skirting the law, and skirting it in a very, very, unique way, and way that actually saves a crap ton of money. Now, the big difference comes down to this. How many rooms or units do you have in your building? Now, there's three basic classifications, it sounds like. Maybe there's more, but there's three that we're really dealing with. There's just a single family residence, right? That would be class 1, I think. There would be the secondary class, or C3, which they call, and that applies to buildings that have 3 to 4 units. I assume the first one is 1 to 2 units, but they have maybe even just 2 units is a secondary one. Maybe that's, I don't know, C4, C5. I don't even know what the numbers are. But C3 deals with 3 to 4 units. When you go to C2, which applies to buildings with 5 plus units, meaning 5 or more units, especially when you know that the level just below it applies to 3 to 4 units. Obviously, 5 plus does not mean more than 5, but means 5 or more. Well, Letitia James apparently owns 3 different properties that have 5 units, and she has classified all 3 of them as a C3, meaning they have 3 to 4 units. There is an extraordinary difference between those levels when it comes to money. The difference between a 4-unit and 5-unit building is particularly significant, as 5 units trigger additional regulatory oversight. By listing a 5-unit building as having only 4 units, these applications potentially circumvented proper regulatory review, an action that, if done knowingly, may constitute a violation of state and city law. Again, are they using the law separately there in New York? Well, we're about to find out if she is going to be under investigation for this. So definitely illegal. And she signed a document stating that, oh no, this is totally accurate, best of my knowledge. You had 5 units, and why did you say you had 3 to 4? Yeah, she's going to get in trouble on that one. RFK Jr. plans to eliminate GRAS food standards for most products. That is generally, what is this? We've launched, where is it? It tells us what it is. Yeah, generally recognized as safe. A lot of ingredients that get put into food, they're GRAS standard basically says the food company, the one that's going to try to kill us and doesn't really care, they're allowed to decide whether or not something is considered safe or not. And since it's generally recognized as safe until there's evidence to suggest otherwise, they go ahead and pass it. So you can use whatever crazy chemicals you want, as long as it's not something like arsenic or, lead, things that are known carcinogens. This is something that he's getting rid of. We're no longer going to just generally recognize any crazy-ass shit you guys want to put in food as safe. No, that's over. So good stuff. I think we've played him talking about it. But again, that's a great movement in the big picture. This was funny. It's pissing some people off, I think, too. And I kind of didn't fully understand this. I kind of assumed that it meant we were going to become part of the Commonwealth, part of England. But apparently that's not really what it means. We'll share here in a second. But Donald Trump shared this. King Charles is going to make a secret offer to Donald Trump during the UK state visit. Now, personally, I think the secret offers Canada. That's what I think. But the discussion that's been thrown around is that he's going to ask us if we want to be part of the Commonwealth. Depending on what's true, it doesn't really matter, but if he has asked us to be part of the British Commonwealth, that would actually mean becoming part of the voluntary association of 56 independent countries, primarily former British colonies, with shared values and history, potentially leading to increased trade, cultural exchange, and diplomatic ties, while also requiring adherence to Commonwealth principles. I don't know what that last part means exactly, but it's voluntary. It's not a formal political or economic union, but rather a group of countries that choose to cooperate. We have a shared history and shared legal system. That's a big part of why they like the people that used to be formerly part of the normal Britain's Commonwealth or the UK or I don't know, whatever the hell they call all their territories that they had. So we all had similar legal systems because, you know, the British imposed them on us, right? Maritime law and all that stuff. Focused areas, the Commonwealth works to promote development, democracy, peace, and human rights among its members. I wonder what it costs. So whatever, we'll see what they actually offer us. I think Donald Trump is going to handle it appropriately. I still wonder if it has anything to do with Canada, because Canada is still under the crown and probably should belong to us. Germany seized a decrepit tanker found adrift in its northern coast in January that is believed to be part of a shadow fleet used by Russia to circumvent oil sanctions. What's funny about this is this thing, I think, was heading back to, Iran? No, Egypt. So from Russia to Egypt, the German government got a hold of this ship. I don't know if it was in international waters. I assume it was. It was found off the Baltic Sea island of Ruegen, and prompting Berlin to sharply rebuke Moscow. The tanker had been heading to Egypt from Russia. So they confiscated the ship, and they got about 100,000 metric tons of oil, worth about 40 billion euros. They took it. It's now Germany's property, which they need oil badly, don't they? Yeah. I hope they can process it. Hope they don't need, like, Ukraine to do that. But, yeah, Germany is definitely having a hard time. Israeli Supreme Court freezes Netanyahu's government's dismissal of the head of the security agency. It's much like what's happening here in the United States. You've got the Supreme Court saying you can't do that. They've even voted for it legislatively and passed that they wanted to remove this dude. Obviously, the executive branch wants to remove this dude, and now you've got the courts trying to stop it. So we'll see. Yeah, the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, I don't know, posted on X, High Court's judges will not conduct the war or determine its commanders, period. So we'll see. It's more of the same crap we got going on here. Hopefully they're able to stop it. A couple final topics here, and this one's really cool. Well, final topic, actually, and I've got a picture of what artist rendering probably of what this craft is, because Trump even specifically says, I'm not giving a lot of information because I don't want people to know the size or the shape, right? Like, so they're still trying to keep this very, very secret. So my guess is that what Dan Scavino shared is not necessarily what this craft looks like, but maybe close. Who knows? It's pretty cool looking, that's for sure. Needless to say, let's discuss the new F-47 fighter that Donald Trump is, well, he's going to tell us this, but spoiler alert, we've already been flying this thing for 5 years. It's going to go into production. We're probably going to start to see it soon.
But we're here for a reason today that is very exciting, and I'm thrilled to announce that at my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet. Number sixth generation. Nothing in the world comes even close to it. And it'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title, and it's a beautiful number, F-47. It's something the likes of which nobody has seen before in terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet. There's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload. And this has been in the works for a long period of time. After a rigorous and thorough competition between some of America's top aerospace companies, the Air Force is going to be awarding the contract for the next generation air dominance platform to Boeing. As you know, it was highly competed for. There was a lot of competition, generals, and it's been going on for a long time. Very, very tough competition, but This plane is produced numbers that nobody's ever seen before. The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation. There's no other nation. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them, and it's not even close. This is a next level. You know, level 5 is good. This is level 6, they say. The F-47 is equipped with state-of-the-art stealth technology. It's virtually unseeable and unprecedented power. It's got the most power of any jet of its kind ever made. Maneuverability, likewise, is there's never been anything like it, despite the power and speed. Its speed is top. It's over 2, which is something that you don't hear very often. America's enemies will never see it coming. Hopefully we won't have to use it for that purpose, but you have to have it. And if it ever happens, they won't know what the hell hit them. A new fleet of these magnificent planes will be built in the air during my administration over the next couple of years. It's ready to go. They've already built much of what has to be built in terms of production, including the sheds. We'll ensure that the USA continues to dominate the skies. We've given an order for a lot. We can't tell you the price because it would give way to some of the technology and some of the size of the plane, good-sized plane. This contract also represents a historic investment in our defense industrial base, helping to keep America at the cutting edge of aerospace and technology. Our allies are calling constantly. They want to buy them also, and certain allies will be selling them, perhaps toned-down versions. We like to tone them down about 10%, which probably makes sense because someday maybe they're not our allies, right? But I would like to ask Secretary Hegseth, who's doing a fantastic job. He's really been very inspiring in so many ways, and I must say that before he speaks, we have had record people wanting to join our military in the last 2.5.
Now, I'm gonna just go out on a limb. Pretty sure that the technology or the craft in particular is very similar to what the Dark Star or whatever the one was in the new Maverick movie. Almost gonna guarantee that plane, if not right on the money, is extraordinarily close to right on the money. So I actually think that's probably the craft. We'll find out. What this is meant to do, as he explained, is fly with drones. So these drone aircraft are ones that have missiles and other stuff like that. They're very, very stealthy, probably smaller, and they're unmanned. So they can do 30G maneuvers because they don't have a pilot inside that's going to get squished or pass out. So they're able to do things that no other craft could do that's manned. This will be significant because you could literally get something, you could go flying by stealth-wise, flip around quickly, and immediately attack. Or even have missiles that can shoot in weird different directions. A lot of things can happen. So here is a picture of what Dan Scavino shared. Kind of, I don't know, tailless you would assume it has to be. And it has got all the stealth characteristics that you would expect, some of the shape stuff, obviously the rounding. The key that is not necessarily demonstrated here, but I'm sure based off of what it looks like it's probably kind of got that concept baked into it, is the idea of photovoltaics, and I'm simplifying it greatly. I'm sure it's vastly more complex than this. But to a sense, whatever angle you look at it from, it's almost like it's got camera angles going exactly opposite, like your continued eye line. So you would see, and it'll just change the color. So like in the case of this, like we're staring at it from the angle we're staring at it, this would actually color and end up looking like clouds, and it would have the little bit of blue back here, right? Like it would blend in. You wouldn't see it, which would make for a shit photograph. That is a key ingredient that guarantee is on the next level craft. They've literally got visible invisibility, if you will, or invisibility cloak type thing. And it'd be reasonably easy to do. And this color changes could happen on different facets, different angles. It could do a lot of crazy stuff to visually make itself very hard to see. There might be some interesting angles. I'm very curious how well it works. Like if you were kind of flying over it, would there be places where it would flicker, kind of like the Predator did in that first movie, right? Where you could kind of see him when he walked in front of certain things, but mostly was invisible. One's got to wonder how that would play out. But all said, the world's changing. We are stepping up and, well, hopefully becoming the America we used to be. And then hopefully we way surpass the America we ever were and become the greatest that we can be. And always remember to love everybody. Strength through peace. Peace through strength, I should say, is the proper way to say that. A lot happening, folks. Got a great music show. It's kind of funny. Normally I have like more people in the music, like the live show. I have to put it up early and put a little rotation video. And then a lot of times there's just, 50 to 100 people just sit in there all day long. It's cool. Today we're like 26 right now. It's been going up and down. It's going to be an excellent show. In fact, I feel like I got to add one more song. I think I'm just a hair short. I don't want to have to eat up 7 minutes, so I think I'm going to shove one more song in there. We'll figure out what that is. But I've got a bitchin' show put together. Just a bitchin' show. That's where I'm also trying to figure out where I want to put the song, because I've got to really, like when I recorded it, I'm like, yeah. Like, this is one I'm going to watch a bunch more. And I don't want to ruin it with a bunch of talking. I just want music. This is going to be good. I start off with a cool Who song, The Who, I should say. Finish off with a bitchin' Pink Floyd live rendition that's epic. Just epic. And the quality of the sound's so good. Then I've got a bunch of really, really cool stuff in the mix. It's kind of mostly sort of in the 80s, early 80s genre, I guess. But I don't know. It was kind of one of those things. It was funny. Hourglass was what inspired it. I don't know. It doesn't really fit Squeeze as well. It's the unfortunate thing. It's kind of, I don't know. It does and it doesn't. I don't see what you guys think. I like it. I love the songs. I'm just looking at them right now. I'm looking at my list. I've got one song in there. It's kind of weird, a Talking Head song that, I don't know, maybe doesn't fit, but it kind of, I feel like ties into some of the Squeeze stuff. Anyway, it's going to be fun. I don't know. Bitchin'. I'm proud of this one. This is what I'm proud of this. Hopefully you guys join me. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If not, just watch it and tell me what you think. Hopefully it's good music and you like it. But I think it's going to be a bitchin' set of tunes. Hopefully you find the same feeling about it. All said, a lot happening today, a lot happening tomorrow. Guarantee a lot happening next week. Stay with me. I'll keep you guys up to date best I can. I'm trying to keep out the crap news and give you what I think is relevant towards where we're heading. Less so than what everybody else in the bad side is trying to do to stop us. There's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of people doing that work. You don't need me doing it. I want to be one of the few people that's actually talking about where we're heading, not what everybody else is trying to do. I don't want you focusing on the dude next to us that's about to do something crazy. I want you to focus on the fact that you're about to have your head hit a branch in front of you. If you don't scooch down a little bit real quick, yeah, you're going to get smacked in the head, right? That's what I'm worried about, is let's look where we're going, because there's plenty of obstacles and problems there, but we're accomplishing something and we're moving forward, right? Versus getting lost in some weird thing that doesn't necessarily matter. It's just somebody trying to mess with, or somebody that's got ideas to try to mess with. I get you. And that's important, but sometimes if you spend too much time where other people are, that's where you'll remain. And you don't want to. Keep cruising with us. We've got a great place we're going to. I'm working to get you guys there. I'm going to say I promise, because I'm sure we're going to get there. I don't know how it's going to, might be a bumpy ride, but we're definitely going to get there. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.